Are we live? Well, there we are. Yay. All right. Nope, that's not what I wanted. May need your help because that doesn't seem to be showing. I panic so easily. Why is it not showing? Can you see it on your phone?
Hold on.
Okay. Because I'm going to need to figure out why
My phone's out here by you.
it's not showing up. I mean, I know it's not that exciting of a picture, but, oh, what? Live, there it is. Okay, wow. So it's sideways. So see how it's going sideways here? So I should turn my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. How come it's so skinny? It wasn't skinny like that last time. It's because I'm doing it on the other side, right?
I don't know. I don't know why it's
How's...
Let me pull it up. It looks normal on my phone.
Okay, so it's just the iPad?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. And look how much more light there is. Hey, everybody. Anybody with us so far?
Yeah, we got one.
How do you see that? Oh, wait. There we go. I have two. Oh, I probably count as my own.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, you.
It's me.
Hey, who's joining us? Ooh, 4. Look at us go. We're doubling. We're like the coronavirus here. That was terrible humor. I know, we're not ready. Hey, you guys. Ooh, look, that's me saying hello. All right, we're getting ready. So excited. Everybody got their plate kits out? All right, so you've got your black plate. Here, I took off my little stencil. Although I guess you could just put your stencil on. Really, there's no reason not to. Ooh, look at that. It's brilliant. Plate with nothing on it. All right. Hey, who's joined us so far? Okay. Oh yeah, look at me there. I'm just like so technical. My talents, my skills have increased so much over last week. We have light, that's an improvement. And I now know how to text or comment. All right, let's see, we have enough light showing up here. All right, there we go. Whoops. Oh, Jackie. Hello. Patricia, why? Oh, I have to go like this to see my comments, right? Nope. Uh-oh. So my comments aren't showing, Alyssa. Just one big disaster area. Have you ever noticed this about me? It's just on off. Okay. Hey, Alyssa. Whoops. I'm trying to figure out why I can't see comments today.
Can't what?
Up here. Otherwise, you're going to be involved a lot more. That make you very unhappy. Three dots, maybe? Nope. Oh, you're just magical because you didn't do anything I wouldn't have done. All right.
I'm technical support.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of a combination of a lot of things here. Technical support. Oh no, where'd I put my water bottle? Oh my gosh, I went to get it before. All right, give me a second, you guys. I'll be right back. Whoops. Oh yeah, you can close up too. Of course it is. All right, everyone, we're going to give it another minute, and then we'll get started at 6. And going to work on our celestial moon plate. I guess, you know what would make more sense? Wouldn't this make more sense if I did this? Yeah, that would make more sense. So at least you're not looking at a blank plate. This is our project for today, or tonight. And if you have your kit, we got... So that's helpful for me to see where I have glare. That puppy does have quite a bit of glare, doesn't it? Bit of curiosity. All right, well, wait till you guys see next week. Next week, the excitement really starts because I have... a new light coming, so that will get rid of the glare and stuff. Oh yeah, I'm going high tech here. I can't stop myself now. I brought in a light from home, which is a really nice OT light that I use a lot for crafting, but it does not solve the problem of the glare. So I have a ring light coming, and we're just going to be able to do all sorts of different things. All right. Cool. All right, so welcome. We're going to get started. This week's project is kind of interesting. Well, it is very interesting. It's a beautiful plate. Alyssa, who's also here tonight, she's in the kiln room, though, getting some, spoiler alert, some Mother's Day projects ready. But she's done all the samples for this. She loves this plate. So I'm working off of her experience, which is kind of fun, and I'm appreciative of that. So, but one of the things that's different about this plate than all of the other ones that we've done is the fact that you can do this one more randomly. It's not as specific about where you put your each dot. So if you've never done a plate with us before, then you're going to, that's fine. You're going to find this fun and relaxing, but it'll be a little bit different than if you do another one with us where I'm showing you exactly where to put all your dots. So you should have in front of you your own plate. All right. So take the sample one off. So your glazed plate face side up. And I know it looks gray, but it will be shiny black after it gets fired. And then you have your stencil, All right, and then you've got your 4 colors. The key thing in my mind is to separate your white from your light blue, because otherwise, if I show you here, they can kind of look the same. The white is brighter, so that helps a little bit. The blue is a little duller. Actually, the white looks whiter just because it's next to the blue, so that's kind of cool. Usually it's hard to see. So yeah, you can even see in the picture, the one on the right is definitely bluer. So anyway, I tend to keep them on the ends away from each other, and I put my other 2 blues in the middle. Okay, I'm just telling you what I do. I've got my I've got my paper towel and my dotting tools. So if I show you the dotting tools, what you'll notice is there's a yellow one and a white one. And I've put a color on the, if you're looking on the inside, you'll see I've put a color on each dot. So, I'm sorry, on each tip, a colored dot. So it would show you, if I say something like yellow tool, blue dot, you're going to know that I'm talking about this tip here. Yellow tool, and then the blue tip, the tip that has the blue dot on it. Versus this one would be the white tool with the green tip, for example. So pretty easy, and I'll go slowly so you have enough time to absorb it. And I'm going to take you step by step. And the nice thing is that for this one, because it's not as specific about each dot having to go in the same place to make the pattern, you have a little bit more flexibility in terms of, and I'm able to write out directions or instructions, which I gave you with your kit, so you can follow along with those. So what I'm going to have you do is to take your paper stencils. Actually, does anybody have any questions? Did I say my name was Jackie? I can't remember. Hi, I'm Jackie. Feel free to give me any comments as we go, so that I can answer any questions for you. I'll tend to, I'm hoping I learned last week the right pace, but if I'm going too fast, let me know. I usually ask people to give me a thumbs up when they're done with a particular step so that I know when it's time to move on. So grab your paper stencil. I don't see any questions. Alyssa, you're watching for these too, right? In case they disappeared for me? Can you watch for comments also? Okay, good, because I don't know if they're showing up here or not. All right.
You just got a couple.
What? Just hello? Or a question?
Yeah, not like question.
Okay.
Just like,
yeah, I don't know why it disappeared from here again. Yeah, I can't really figure that out. So, all right. So I'm sorry, guys. We're going to take the stencil and kind of just place it in the middle of your plate. Okay. Now, you don't really have to do anything. Sometimes what I'll do is even just wet my finger a little bit. I have some water. When I sent you guys an email yesterday, I said you could wet down the edge of your stencil if you want to. Sometimes that'll help it stick down a little bit. I don't usually worry about it. I usually just hold it in place like I'm doing now. It really doesn't matter which way you do it. So there, you've got a little bit of water coming down, or just hold it in place. So we're going to start with our first level. We're going to work inside the moon first. All right, and we're going to take the yellow tool and the blue tip, which is the one that I showed you before. And we're going to start with the white glaze, and we're going to do what I call dip and dot, which is actually as brilliant as it sounds, where I'm going to put this up here so you can see it. I'm going to dip and put a dot. And I'm going to just do that over and over because I want all these dots to be large, to be kind of the same size. So I'm doing them a little bit randomly. I am going to move, now that you've seen how to dip and dot, I know, it's brilliant. I'm moving it off so that it's not, I can get a better visual field. And I'm going to just add some of these big white dots kind of throughout. So if I want to add one in over here, I'm going to move my fingers so I'm holding the paper down so that if it touches the edge, it's not going to go underneath the paper. All right, so it doesn't take long for it to set up. You don't really have to wait all that long. How many dots do? I don't know. I've never counted them. I just do a bunch. I know. You can quote me on that. And all I do is if I get near the edge, I just hold the paper down. All right. I don't think there's any questions for this so far. We're all doing great. We can dip and dot with the best of them. This is a great way to get your confidence. Okay, so I'm coming over here into the corner. I'm just going to come a little bit off. So I don't know if you noticed this one where I put the dot a little bit onto the paper. So when I lift up the stencil later, it will be not a full dot. I'm going to, spoiler alert, but that's okay. That's my style and I like that. Other people would want to only put, if you want all your dots to be perfectly round, then don't stamp on the paper. Okay, just stamp next to the paper. All right, so that's my first step. The paper towel that I gave you is actually there for you to be able to, I'll just show you, wipe your tip off on when you're done. So remember, if you do like I just did, lift your hand up off the stencil, do it slowly, do it carefully so that the stencil doesn't move. Okay? All right, so I'm going to assume we're good for that. Give me some thumbs up so I know. Oops. Whoops, what do we got? Do I have to stand up? Oh, yay. So Pam, I will tell you that you can order this kit from us and it will come with the directions, but also this Facebook Live video is going to be on our Facebook page. So you can do this anytime you want. I designed this one so anyone can do it at any time. So feel free to go ahead and order the kit. We'll get it ready for you. We can even mail it. I don't know where you are, but, and then you can do it yourself, both with the written instructions as well, or with the video. All right, so now we're going to use the black tip, okay, because we just did the blue tip, right? So we're going to use the black tip, and we're just going to add some more slightly smaller dots. All right, we're still going to use the white glaze, and we're just going to add in some slightly smaller dots. Okay. Random is the name of the game. All right, so we'll add some of those wherever we want to. All right, that's what I decided I wanted to do. Okay, and when you finished with that, we're just going to switch over to the red tip and use the bright blue glaze, which is this one. I think it's pretty obvious which one is the bright blue. I hope it's obvious. But we're going to switch over to this bright blue glaze, okay? And we're going to do the same size. We're going to use the red tip, sorry. That's this one here, the red tip. You can't see mine because I literally have the last set of dotting tools in the studio. Thank goodness I have more coming in tomorrow. But we're going to do a smaller dots in that nice bright color. I'm going to do one right on the edge because I just love to do edges with the blue. All right. So remember, what I do is, can you tell that I'm adding some pressure? Stuck my finger in the paint there. I can fix that later, so I'm not going to worry about it now. Oh yeah, you guys remember, I'm always telling you about mistakes. Most mistakes are better off left to dry before you try to fix them. So like this one that I smeared before, I'll fix that later when it's dry, or drier at least. So I'm adding a bunch of, I'm going to have to keep my hands clean if I'm going to be on camera like this. Okay, I'm very messy. All right, so I'm adding a bunch of the light blue or the bright blue for the first time. Sorry. I'm going to add a little bit more. All right, and then when I'm done with that step, go ahead, let me see some thumbs up so I know where people are at. If you do get a chance to come to the iPad and see what I'm doing wrong with, why I'm not seeing any feedback at some point, that would be cool, because I'm just not getting it. I know you looked into it before, but all right. Oh, my God. What is it with you? You just come and you look at it and it's fine. Oh, my goodness.
I clicked it.
Stop. You didn't. You just looked at it. It likes you better. That is ridiculous. Okay. So I just have to tap on it. Okay, good. So there's all my comments and everybody's letting me know they're ready for the next step. So now we're going to switch over now to the white tool, and we're going to go with the orange tip, which is the largest tip on that tool, and we're going to add some of the light blue. Okay, so we just did the bright blue, and now we're going to add the light blue, which kind of looks a lot like the white. So, I mean, it looks like the white now. It won't look like the white when it fires. So I'm just going to fill in with those. Here's the other thing, you guys, just so you realize, of course, you can go back if you follow the direction, if you will, that I'm doing, and you're like, wow, I wish I had more fill in the blank. So you can always go back and fill in more. I mean, we still have a ways to go, but I'm just telling you. If you get any drips, like see this drip here? I don't know if you can see that tiny little dot. I'm just going to dot right over it, so it goes away. It's really starting to look kind of fun now. And I do a lot right near the edges. When I get to these smaller dots, I tend to do a lot more around the edges. That's how it's going to define the shape once you take your stencil away. Okay, going to hold down over here and add a couple in right up here. All right, now I'm gone light blue crazy. So then I'm going to switch down across to the purple tip. All right, and add all bright blue, light blue, and the dark blue dots. So I'm going to add a lot of little dots with the purple tip. So this is really an opportunity to fill in. Now I haven't used the dark blue yet, so I'm going to do that one first. All right, so as I said, this is the white tool with the purple tip. And I'm going to add a bunch of little dots with that all over. Make sure when you add your dot, that when you're dotting the inside here, that you're putting them in the, what do I want to call that, the corner, the tip, I guess, of the moon. Make sure that's got a dot in it, okay? Because otherwise it won't have its shape. A lot of times how much paint you'll get on your plate will depend on how long you hold the tip on your plate for. So if you want more plate, if you dot and then just leave it there for a second, more plate or more paint will obviously flow down. All right, so these are all some dark blue. I'm adding everywhere. Okay. So fun to do this. This is one of my favorite plates because I just love this feel of, I just kind of go where my heart tells me to go. It sounds so dorky, but it's true. I'm going to change colors, but I'm just going to be adding in some other colors in this size. So you're just going to keep going. I'm moving on to the bright blue. And again, making sure I've got my edges done. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Not so far. I guess this isn't really the biggest puzzle you've ever had to deal with. I get that. All right, I'm going to switch over now to my last color at this size, which is that light blue, and just fill in. Sometimes at this point, I will not single dot because I can just do dots of different sizes or just a little less paint. I just really want to fill in as much as possible now. Looking for any large places that don't have a dot. I love these little dots at the end. They really bring a lot to the party. So, all right, I'm not unhappy with that, so I'm stopping because otherwise it will be solid. I know me too well. All right. So that's going to be our inside of the moon. Ta-da. Ta-da. I guess that's a better ta-da. All right. So let me know, you guys, when you're... Yeah, there we go. Okay. So you're letting me know that you're tapping out there. And now we're going to work on the outside of the plate. Now, to start with, just as unexciting as it sounds, all the next 3 steps, all the dots are going to be white because we're laying down our base first. And we're going to go back to the yellow tool, and we're going to use the white tip, which is the biggest one, okay? And you're going to dot randomly. The only thing I want to remember to point out to you guys, and this is kind of a, holding your stencil down, if you're going to do the white, if you're going to do anything up on the rim, I like to lift up my plate, okay, so that I'm always working parallel to the table, all right? So it doesn't take that long for it to set, and sometimes I'll just tilt it and do a couple of them over there so that, I'm not really wasting my tilting time. I know, that's the kind of thing I would think of. Sorry to have to say that out loud. But see, it's already, when I put it back down, it's not going to go anywhere. So you can pick up, now I forgot to mention it this week, the paper placemat you have, you can use that to turn your plate with so you don't have to get your dirty little hands all over it. Glaze doesn't really like skin oils all that much. So remember, when I pick up my plate, I'm always having a hand on the stencil. So if you don't want to pick up your plate, if you're not sure your hands are clean, or although these days, let's be clear, all of us are cray for clean hands, but you can just use your paper towel instead. So you can just put it down, pick it up and rotate it. I always advocate dotting from your best side. So I'm left-handed. I prefer to dot on the left. Okay, my dots come out strongest that way. So I'm lifting it up, putting my finger here, tilting it, and then I'm just going to do this. So I turn my plate, so I'm always dotting on the left. Okay. Notice I'm not really worrying about the little spills or, wisps. I don't know what to call them. The little, sometimes little tiny dots that might appear from a speck. That's the word I'm going for. Don't worry about specks. They'll be covered up at a later stage. All right, so that could be your starter step. You could, this in terms of this number of dots. If you want more, just add more. Okay. And I guess I could add some more on the inside here. Again, near your stencil, go ahead, make sure you hold it down when you dot near your stencil. Oops. Okay, I'm going to do exactly what I said I don't like to do. Okay. Oops, and another question. Which dotter am I using, Beth? I'm using the yellow tool with the white tip. Jan, if you're going to keep watching us every week, I'm going to have to send you a kit. All right? Okay. So that's, for me, what I'm doing. So this is the largest dots that you're going to have on your plate. All right. Let's see what. So when you're done, I'm going to look for some of my thumbs up here, right? And when you feel like you've got a good number, and remember, you can always go back and add more, so not a lot's going to happen. We're going to actually then switch over to the white tool with the orange tip and add more white dots in there. Oops. Okay. Because there's so much edge space on the outside, as you can see, what I tend to do is make sure I'm getting along those edges. Okay? Because that really, as I said before, helps define it. This one, it's not as critical to tilt the plate when you do the edge. Sometimes I'll still do it, though, because it makes me nervous. So I'll still tilt it if I'm going to do a lot on the edge. So remember that little speck? Gone. Goodbye, speck. Okay. You guys should see this when I do this at home by myself. I'm just as dorky. All right, so I'm just gonna go be adding a lot of these. I like this size. And I'm also gonna do this with the yellow tip, just so you know, which is a little bit larger. So this just lets me fill in a lot with white. I do wanna have a lot of white on here before I start adding my other colors. So feel free to add a lot of dots. And you can even dot. Sometimes what I do when I'm dotting is I'll dot two sizes at the same time. So I might dip it in the orange, the purple. Let me get rid of the orange one. Dip it in the purple dot tip. Sorry, using my words correctly. Just looking. But then do that one and say another color at the same time. The other tip actually I want you to use for this one, I said it wrong, is the white tool with the blue tip. So we have the yellow tool with the white tip, which is the biggest one you did already. We're going to use the white tool with the yellow tip, the one I was just showing you. And then we're going to go back and do some other large ones with the yellow tool with the blue tip for some more large dots. Not as necessarily as large as the first ones. And this way, I like to fill in on the areas where I have small dots so I can really see what needs to be filled in. Was that clear? Did that make sense to you guys? Let me see. Nobody said it didn't. Okay. I appreciate that. Okay. So while I'm doing the blue tip, I can also come back and use the white tool with the any of the tips, really. You can use whatever tips you want. Try not to over-instruct on this one. This one has a lot of free will. I'm using the yellow tip now, but I feel like the yellow tip is kind of small, so I'm going to move up to the orange tip because I can. Okay. Any questions? No. This takes a while. This is the biggest step. Spoiler alert, just so you know. But it's starting to fill nicely. I'm about 2/3 done. Okay. So I'm going back and forth between the yellow tool with the blue tip for the really big ones, or not really big, not as big as the first ones, but for the larger size, and then switching back and forth to the white tool with like the orange tip. And you'll notice if you're looking at my plate that it has a chip in it. This is how we use broken pottery at the studio. It becomes Jackie's plate to teach on because, as you can imagine, having designed it and stuff, we already have, let's just say, several of these. So sometimes when I'm teaching it, I don't actually teach it with a brand new plate. It would seem sort of wasteful. I can't think of what else to do with this many plates. So okay, on my last section here. How are you guys doing? I know you're probably afraid to show me your thumbs up because you probably think I'm going to think you're done, but I won't. Because I'm a fast dotter, to be honest, so if I'm not done, I'm deciding you can't be done. So. Okay. I'm just kind of, once I've got what I think is, every space, if you will, I kind of go back around and fill in any large spaces that I missed. And again, looking for my edges to make sure my space is going to be well defined. And that, right now I'm working with a big tip with the yellow tool, blue tip, but I'm actually going to come back through this with my smaller tips for a lot of my edges here. And when I do it, I don't do them in a row. I kind of want to, like if I put a dot here, I'm going to put another one over here so that it doesn't end up looking like I'm doing a line. Okay. So we're white dotting like crazy. All different sizes. This is a great project if you're new to dotting because it's, I don't know, I don't want to jinx it. I'm going to jinx it, aren't I, by saying it's pretty hard to mess up, although I think I did right at the beginning. But, you know, one of the things that's nice is good luck going back and finding that dot I didn't really care for, especially by the time we're done double dotting them. It's just not a big deal. So you guys get to see what a mess I am. I'm one of the messiest painters I've on the planet, I swear. So my hands are always filled with paint. Okay. Again, I'm just looking around. I'm mostly looking to see if, you know, is my edge going to be pretty well defined? Because I don't want to make it look lined up. I want it to look somewhat, still keep that random look. And again, I'm switching back to my yellow because if I have a big space, I don't want to fill every big space with a bazillion little dots. I want to have a good array of big dots too. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you guys that I'm happy with where I am. So I'm going to watch paint dry for a couple minutes. It's a personal favorite activity of mine. It's how I spend a good part of my day. The other part of my day I like to spend trying to crack up Alyssa. You can, look over what you've done. If you see a dot that you want to fix, you certainly can do that. Like I see a blue dot that I stuck my finger in, so I can very gently add a little bit more blue to it. All right, that one dot that I mentioned to you before that kind of got away from me, I'm just going to add, believe it or not, add a little bit more paint to it, make it a little rounder. Problem solved. Okay. All right, I'm watching you guys. I'm looking for thumbs. That's me. See when you're done. No rush. We are watching paint dry after all. Did I not add the blue ones? Oh, I do the blue ones afterwards. I didn't add my blue dots out here. I'm crazy.
There is none.
Oh, there aren't any.
It's double dots.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at the moon. Right. Exactly. I was like, wait, I don't remember doing that before, but I'm looking here, but it's not the outside. That's right. We're going to do our inside the moon thing next. Okay, cool. All right, how we doing on what does the finished design look like? Well, there's a great question. Okay, so this is, give me a second. I have to wait till it shows up for you guys. It's going to have a bit of a glare, so I'll turn it for you so you can see what it looks like when it's done. All right, here it's coming up so I can see. Whoops. Okay, let me try to center it. That's the problem with the 7-second delay. Okay.
It makes 7 seconds feel like forever.
It makes 7 seconds seem really long. You're absolutely right. I was like, come on. All right, there you go. So I'm trying just to, there we go. If I do this, I'm trying to make it so that it doesn't have a terrible glare. How's that? I don't know. Ah, there you go. Okay, so you can see it now. Thank you, Cindy. She said beautiful. Your work is appreciated. When we originally planned this class, and it was supposed to be an in-person class, we actually planned it so that you could have your choice of a large or a small plate. So here's the small plate. It's obviously the same design, so it's not that it's that exciting to see it. But I just really think it's kind of cool to realize that you can do it on 2 different sizes. You could make like a set of them, right? So you could have a salad plate and a dinner plate, or it even might make a good hanging, wall hanging, having the 2 different size plates. Of course, immediately what that happens to me is then I start thinking about, wow, I could do it at the bottom of a bowl, and I just get ridiculous. So sorry about that. All right, how we doing on our dotting? People who are dotting along, ha, ha, ha. Are we good on our outside? Because here's what you're going to do. You're going to, when the paint doesn't look like it's going to run anymore, it's not going to be completely dry, but you won't see a lot of shiny. You'll start to see it beginning to get what we call matte, right? Then I'm going to very carefully and very directly lift up my stencil. Okay? Or as we like to say, ta-da! Okay. So that's, whoops, I'm all crooked now. Let's not be crooked. Yay! So here we go. This is what it looks like as our work in progress at this point. And you can see, I mean, the shape is pretty clear, which I really love. So I turned it around for you guys to look at so it's facing the right direction for you. And that's going to be important on our next step. Now, the next step we're kind of going to do together. So I am going to ask if someone is particularly far behind, could you just throw me a comment here so that I know, just write wait or give me a minute or something so that I know not to move ahead without you. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to work on that star that's in the middle of the moon while we wait for our paint to dry. Here's actually a photograph. This is the photo that you guys have with you. Actually, you all have the photo, don't you? So if you bought, when you have the kit, you get a photo, the instructions, the base coated plate. So we're going to work on this star in the middle next. Now, this is an eyeballing thing we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to take the yellow tool with the white tip, which is our biggest tip, and we're going to make a center dot. What I want to show you is this. If you'll notice in the picture that you have, or even in the instructions, you want to think about when you're making your star, which is not right now, you want to make sure you leave enough room for the spokes of the star, and you're going to want to think about what direction you want your star to go in. So, for example, I know if I put my center here versus, I don't want to put my center too close here because I'm going to run out of room in that direction. So I'm going to put my center out here, almost under the tips of the moon, all right, and kind of center it. So I'm going to take the white glaze with the yellow tool and the white tip, and I'm just going to put one dot right here. Ta-da! I've got a center. I got a place to start. And then we're going to switch over to the white tool with the orange tip. What? Okay. And here's, when I want to make a circle around a dot, I don't make a circle, I know, around the dot. Aren't I helpful? I do what I call north, south, east, and west first. So I'm going to dip the white tool with the orange tip, and I'm going to put a dot here, and then I'm going to put a dot here, and then I stop saying that. One up here. So north, south, west, and east. Then I can go back and put a dot in between. The advantage of that is I know that they're evenly spaced, and it's easier to make it look rounder when you do this. Sometimes if you just go around and around, believe it or not, it can come out kind of square looking. Okay? So I'm just touching up some of them again to let a little more paint drip so I get my 8 dots. All right, that makes sense to everybody? So far, so good? Okay. So we're going to use the same color, the light blue. Ooh, get a problem with this light as I put my hand into it. We're going to put a larger dot directly above the dots that we just put down. Okay, so we're going to use the yellow tool with the red tip, which doesn't really show up on the one that I have because somebody spilled some black paint on top of it. And then we're going to use the same color and just put a dot above that. The thing about this is you want to err on the side of air. So you don't want to go too close to the dot you already have because you don't want it to run. And if it does run, the Jackie rule is we'll clean it up later. I will show you before we leave how you clean up a dot. All right, so I put them on my northeast, south, and west again, and then I come back and do my in-between ones. Okay, and remember, you can turn your plate so that you're always dotting from your best direction. Okay. So that's our next step, is we've got the next row of dots. We're going to use the same tip now, the same yellow tool, red tip, but we're going to go to the bright blue, and we're going to actually, what I call, triangulate. So we're going to put the same size dot, but we're going to put it up and between the dots we just put in. Okay? And spit on my plate while I do it. That's just special. There's no extra for that. All right, so we're just going to put one between. Can you guys see that? I have to wait and see. I'm probably blocking it, right, with my hand. You can see it when I pull it away. I'm going to lift up the plate so you can see it a little closer. Okay. That really didn't help at all. There you go. Okay. And I can turn it like it's a pizza pie and just add the dot. And a little, all right. So I think you guys can see that pretty well. That's our next row. And here's a shocker. We're going to use the same tip, yellow tool, red tip, and we're going to go to the dark blue, and we're going to add a dot triangulated between those, which actually ends up being above the white dot, right, if you remember, or the light blue dot. So we're going to put one right about right here. Okay. What's funny about holding it up is I actually am the only person who probably can't see it when it's this high. It's too close to my nose. That's okay. I don't need to see it. I'm not even keeping my plate since it's broken. Whoops, let me make sure I'm on the screen here. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Any questions? You guys can see it? Yes, no questions. So we're doing fine. Okay. So that's that step with that dot. And now we're actually going to use a different tip. Oops. Now what we're going to do is we're still using the yellow tool. Sorry, I went off center there and I didn't notice it because I was holding my plate. We're going to use the yellow tool with the white tip. I want to make sure I'm not going too fast. Am I going too fast for anyone? I don't know there's a way you can answer that other than typing yes. But if you're ready to move on, just give me a thumbs up. Whoops. Just press your... Okay. So I can see you. Okay. Put that down for a bit. So now we're going to take the yellow tool with the white tip, and we're going to use, again, the dark blue, and we're going to put a triangle. We're going to triangulate again. So this one is going to be above that bright blue tip. Just remember, this is a really big dot, so give yourself a lot of room so you don't run into another dot. Okay. Okay, so I'll pick that up for you guys so you can see it, but that's what our design looks like so far. All right, again, I'm just slowing down for, what Iris, would this tutorial be up for? Oh yeah. It's definitely going to be up for a while. A lot of people are just coming in for their plates now, or you can get your plate kit at any point. It's going to be, the plate kits are going to be on the website for the duration. This actually might become a thing. I don't even know. I've never done this before. We were all homebound, but I could see doing this on a more, regular basis. I know a lot of times people say to me, oh my gosh, I really want to do that plate, but I can't come on that particular day. And I guess I'm wondering why I can't film it so that people can do it, come pick up the plate kit and do it whenever they want. So I'm good for that. So yes, it'll be up there, and I might actually also try to put it on our website so people have more than one way to get to it. So the last bit we're going to do then for the stars is going to be adding, wow, is this really, okay, is adding what I don't know, I call them the antenna. So I'm going to use the yellow tool with the red tip, okay, which is between the white and the black. And we're going to use white. Remember white? Okay. So we're going to come back to the white, and we're going to do what I like to call dot, dot, dot. So we're going to do that above the smaller dark blue. So I'm going to start with one, and then I'm going to do it twice more. So I'm going to go dot, dot, dot. And that makes each dot a little bit smaller than the one before it. All right, now I'm holding mine where I can't see it. So you want to just go slowly so that you know that you're doing your dots in a straight line. That's the only trick to this. Take your time. It's only 3 dots. There's no rush. Dot, dot, dot. Okay? Let's see if anybody has any questions. What tip? I'm using the yellow tool with the red tip. June, okay? So the yellow tool with the red tip, dot, dot, dot. Okay? Trying to keep my rays kind of straight. I'm probably not, because like I said, I'm holding it up a little closer to the camera to make sure you guys can see it. And that means I can't see it really well. But my plate doesn't matter. Okay, so this is basically what that looks like. All right, so there we go. I'm going to let that rest for a minute. Okay. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Okay, so anybody have any questions on any part of the star? I'm going with a no. Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait for your thumbs up so that I know when you're ready. All right, there we go. Well, I know this is really kind of a fast plate to do because we're officially on the last step, which doesn't mean it doesn't take a while. But the last step is we're going to go back to any of the large dots on the outside. Okay, so I don't generally double dot. So what do I mean by double dot? I think if you're looking at the instructions or the picture, it's kind of clear. We're going to put another dot on top of those white dots. That's why they're all white to start with. But we're not going to double dot anything on the inside, on the moon itself. That one just stays colorful the way it is, which is my way of saying I didn't double dot any of the moon dots, and I didn't double dot the star dot. Can you? Yeah, of course, it's yours. It's your plate. We don't judge. You do whatever makes you, whatever you feel is what you should do. But when I do this plate, I just focus on the outside here, this rim, and I'm going to add, you can see I add some medium blue and I add some dark blue, and I even add, it's hard to see in the picture, I have some light blue that I add on some of the different ones. And I'm primarily using well, I hate to say I primarily use the Jackie rule of painting. I only have one rule. I always tell people that. I probably do. It's you can always add more. You can't add less. So if I'm going to start with my white tool, and I'm probably going to start with the orange tip. All right, and I'm going to find some glaze, and I'm just going to add a dot. So if I add this dot here, so that's plenty big for me. So I'm glad I started with that tip. So I'm using the white tool with the orange tip. Oops, that sounds like a new. Just gonna go. Sorry, I'm gonna make you guys crazy. Make sure. Oh, what does the? Oh no, that's old. This is not keeping up. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna add a variety of different colors. All right, to different dots. And you can use, you decide if you want some, you might want some to be very slim. You might want to just add like a dark blue, not so much. So for this one, I switched over to the green tip. Because what if I decided that was too small? Well, after the green tip comes the purple tip. So there's really no problem with going to a bigger tip. All right, I tend to stick with one, do a bunch in one color and one tip size. And then I move on to up to another one. So a lot of this is personal choice. And I really try to get all of the large ones with a second dot on them. I don't really want any of the large white dots to be just white. It can be funky. This is something where you really can't judge yourself on what it looks like wet, because like that light blue is really barely going to show, if at all, on the on top of the white dot, because they're so similar in color when they're wet. So you just have to trust that when it fires, it will fire obviously to a light blue instead of to white. All right. Any questions? Nope. All right. So. Just going to fill in with these three blues. That's why I called the plate blues, celestial blues. If you ever wanted to do another one, you obviously can do them in different colors. Yeah. Enough said about that. That was sort of obvious, so. And you can see, some of them are dead on center. This really depends on how you like it. I like some of them to be off center, but that's just me because I'm kind of off center. I like company. Correct myself up, okay. Questions? Nope. All right. Happy dotting. Back where I started already. Wow. Why did it go around so fast this time? I know you don't know the answer to that question. All right. Well, I'm going to leave that for you guys to look at. If you want to see that. Whoops. Did I hit my camera? Oh, that's because I was holding it. Okay. So essentially, that's what it's going to look like when it's drying. All right. I've got it all double dotted there with a variety of tip sizes. I tended to use that one tip and different shades of the blues. You certainly could double dip on the star, double dot on the star, on some of the star parts if you want. The next thing I was wanted to show you is if you made a mistake and two of your dots really bled together or something happens, you want to just take something that's got like a little bit of a sharp edge. I have to have a paintbrush, what a shocker, that has a chiseled edge on it. I don't know if you can see that. I guess you could probably see that pretty well. Let me hold it. I turned my camera the other direction this week. I guess I have to get in front of the camera or you're not going to see anything. I'm really having a hard time with this edge. There we go. Move your little hand there, Jack. All right, so you can see it's got a chiseled edge. And I'm going to use that. I'm going to pick my plate up. And I just use that to very lightly scrape off paint I don't want. And I don't scrape too much. I scrape and blow. You hear the sound effects? Scrape and blow. Because what I don't want you to do is scrape off too much of that black, because that I cannot put back on. Oh, here's a good example. So I've clearly dripped some blue over here where it doesn't belong. I'm going to wait for that to come back around so we're looking at it at the same time. Because this is a better example. Yeah, there's that dot I don't want. I don't want a dot right up here in the middle of my black space. So that's a perfect one to just lightly chisel it away. Okay. I don't want to, you have to do it lightly and slowly. You do need patience because you really just want to take the blue off. You don't really want to be taking the black off. There we go. All right. So that's how you clean up your mistakes or anything you don't want where it is. You want to leave this someplace it can dry overnight without getting disturbed. And then by the time it's dry in the morning, you can put it back in its little sleeve. Put your tools in your bag. Please don't forget the slip it comes with. That's how we know whose plate belongs to who, because let's be clear, they all look kind of similar. We also do have a tiny number on the back of your plate that we stuck under the rim. So we also have a system here for matching that up. We like to be safe. We like to practice safe dotting here at the Studio for Art and Craft. That did not even get a snicker from Melissa. Oh, she's concentrating. Wait till you guys see. So what we're doing now, is kind of winding down a lot of our Easter projects. Our clay Easter bunny was super popular as a take-home project. And our peeps were crazy popular. But so now we're working on some spring and some Mother's Day projects, which is kind of fun. So those are going to be going up on the website and on our Facebook page at the beginning of the week. Taking a little bit of a breather. I don't know if you guys are on Facebook. You probably know that we have been using this is going to sound dorky, but I'm just going to say it. So I feel really blessed that I get to come to work. Not as much as I used. I don't get to work as much as I used to because it's a different kind of a studio right now, but at least I can still do this. So what I've done is kind of take that and try to share that with people who aren't as fortunate as I am. And we're doing a lot of free craft kits. So there was a free barbecue for people brought by Tagwanut Cafe on Saturday. So I was there and Emily and Alyssa and I had put together a whole mess of little craft kits for kids. So we gave those out. I had some left over. I brought those up to the hospital. They have handed them out to staff to bring home to their kids, and they were really happy with it. So next week I'm going to be putting together some, I call it potluck pottery, because I'm, big into alliteration. So we're going to put these little pottery painting kits together for people to take home again to their kids. Because, I think about the folks who have to work under those stressful conditions, and they might have to be isolated from their families. And, it's hard for parents, and it's really hard for kids. I remember having to be separated from my mom when I was a kid, when she wasn't well. And so anything that the kids can do that just takes, gives them some pleasure or something different, I thought was a good idea. So, and then today I just was able to contact someone at Office for the Aging, and I'm going to be doing also some potluck pottery kits for those people, the people who get Meals on Wheels. They'll deliver them one day and come back and pick them up the next day, and we will fire them. So I forgot how that all came up. I think I was just waiting to kill time while paint dried. All right, well, thank you very much. I will show you, for those of you who haven't seen it, this is our plate for next week. I forgot to show you that earlier. My bad. So this is what we're doing. I know a lot of you know this already because you have the kits. You have your choice. When you go and order it on the website, you'll see you have a choice of 3 colors. Okay, either this jade green, or we also have the plate in a blue and in a tan. So you pick your color. Because they're custom base coated, we do need a full day, full 24 hours to get them done for you. So order early. Please don't try to order this plate on Wednesday of next week. It won't be pretty. But I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week on Wednesday. Thanks for joining us.